Hey, this is Haley.
And this is Heather.
And you're watching the Dunnit Sisters, a Kansas City true crime podcast. And this episode is on a double homicide which occurred June 25th, 2018. One of the teens, 16-year-old Jeremiah Stewart, his mother, Rondine Taylor, sat down with us and told us about Rome, who his friends knew him as, and what occurred that day.
I've been grieving so much. I grieve a lot every day. You hear a song, a memory. My son was different. He was loving, but stern. His outside shell was hard, and if you could break that, he was loving. He protected you. That's what he was. He was a protector. He was funny, always liked to laugh. So many memories. I remember one time when we was living out south, I had just got a black mini poodle. This boy grabs my do you remember the name? Spunky, that was the name. And he put my dog in his pocket. That's how small my dog was. But he put him in his pocket, and he probably ran around there, and he said, "Mama, look." So I was looking at him. I just had to shake my head because he just does funny things just to make you laugh. Like, don't be crying or upset, because he'll come and tickle you until you start laughing. You're like, you can't tell him stop, because there was no stopping. You just got tickled until you started laughing. Yeah, he liked to play sports. He liked to play football a lot. They called him the Beast. Of course, he was right on the front line. He liked to run, and he liked to block. So that was his favorite positions. He wanted to play professionally. I know he was talking about that before he died. And he liked baseball. He played baseball. He played basketball. He ran track for his school. He just did a lot of things. And I had to be there. Like, there was no, Jeremiah, I'm busy that day, I have to work, or I've got plans, I got to do this, and I got to do that. No, I had to be there where he was. And I remember one time I took him to football practice, and I had to go and get me something to drink. So I said, well, I'll just go and come back. Oh, when the football practice was over, he came running over to the car, and he's like, "Mama, where did you go, and why did you go? Like, don't do that again." I was like, oh my gosh, this boy here. Okay, I won't do it again. So next time I made sure whatever I needed and the kids needed that day, they had it. So, yeah, he's something else. Everybody that I know that come in contact with him just loves him. So they always got good things to say about him. It was on a Monday, June 25th. I had to work the 3 to 11 shift that day, and I was working at Days Inn down there on Van Brunt. And I was working a night shift, and I had let my niece use the car that day. And he went to school, and he came home, and I'm a little foggy from what happened from the time he got home until the time that it happened. But he never went outside. Like, he wasn't one to be out in the street. He was more stay home, and like, he had a girlfriend, so he was more with his girlfriend. So I guess they was not together that day, and he must have wanted to just go hang out with his friends. So maybe around 6 or 7 o'clock, I'm getting a call from my daughter saying, Mama, you need to call Jeremiah. You need to call Jeremiah. I can't get in touch with Jeremiah. I'm like, okay. I said, well, when was the last time you saw him? And she said, we just left him. He just went up the street, but I can't get in touch with him. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of busy right now at work, but when I get done, I'll try and call him and I'll call you back. Okay, so I tried calling him and I called him and that's not normal for Jeremiah not to answer our phone calls. So I called my niece and I'm like, call Jeremiah and try and get in touch with Jeremiah and then call me back once you do. Well, I never got a call back. Well, my time was getting time to get off of work, and my niece is there to pick me up. So I said, well, let's go find Beyonce because she's going to have any answers that we need. So we're calling her, and we find her, and we're riding around in my car. We're riding around all around the neighborhood. And then we come up here to Prospect, and we seen that it was taped off from Prospect, from that street, and that back street back there. I don't remember names of streets, just this one. But that street back there, 2 blocks past the school, it was blocked off. So I drive around and I come to that place back there, and I get out my car and I ask the police officer that was sitting right there. I said, can you tell me who just got killed over here? I said, well, what happened over here? And he's like, no, ma'am. And I said, well, I'm looking for my son. I can't get in touch with my son, and I have a bad feeling. And he says, well, ma'am, I can't tell you anything. I just got here on the site. So I'm like, okay. So we're driving around, and we see that it's taped off up there. I ask an officer up there what happened. He don't know. So we're driving around some more. I'm looking at the radius, and I think we were still trying to call Jeremiah. I'm not sure. But I started getting a pain. And then my chest started hurting, and I couldn't breathe. I knew I lost him then. But I kept driving around. I come back to this officer up here, and I ask him. I told my niece, I said, ask him, maybe he'll tell you. So she asked him, and he told her, go to Truman and check at Truman. There's a boy over there at Truman. So I went to Truman, and we get to Truman, and we see a car in the front. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but we see a car at the front with 2 legs hanging out the car. I proceed to go inside and ask about my son. They tell me to wait, so I wait, and I wait. Somebody come out. They tell me to wait. I waited. It seemed like it was like an hour. Finally, somebody come out and take us in the back. It was me and my daughter and my niece. But we get in that room, And I remember them asking us questions, and I remember answering. And I'm like, well, can you just tell me if my son is alive? Can you tell me what's going on with my son? I looked at the detective's face. I knew then. I knew then that my son was dead. I don't remember much after that. There's not much memory from that point till after the funeral. And some parts are still missing from there. Yeah. So this is where it happened. And
So, what do they say happened?
they say that the two boys came in here with some people, it was like a group. It was like 5 or 6, 7, maybe 8, came here, and they smoked a blunt, or was getting ready to smoke a blunt, or whatever. And somebody busted in the back door. And how my son got out the door, I don't know, but the other boy ended up dying in the house. And I just don't get how all these houses and all these people around here. Look, there's a church right there. And then they've got like another church inside of a house over here. And I mean, we talked to some people after that, but no real clues or tips have ever come of it. And then when I talked to the new detective, she says that there's a big file and she's got to read through it all. And that was like 3 or 4 months ago, and I still haven't heard nothing back from her. I just don't think that they're trying to work very hard on my case. At one time, I was doing an interview for one of the news channels, I think it was Fox 4, is what I want to say. And the interviewer guy was asking me questions, and he slipped out. I don't think he meant to say it, but he asked me, he said, well, was this gang related? My son's not in the gang. So, of course, no, it's not gang related. And he says, well, the police think it is. That's my answer. That's why I'm not getting any help. That's why there ain't nobody trying to help me. They've had witnesses. I believe, they've questioned a few people that I know about this case, and they said what they knew, and I believe that they could have got some tips from that. I believe everybody in this neighborhood believes what happened to my son that day. There's no doubt in my mind that somebody in this neighborhood don't know what happened to my son. Too many people be hanging around up here. That church, they got people hanging around up there all day and all night. I don't know why today there's nobody there. Usually there'd be people all around here.
So the police did interview the group that was in the house?
I don't know that. Like, I don't have the police report. All I have is his death certificate. That is all I have. Like, nothing from the police. They should have had a surveillance of the people at from that gas station. Like, I don't even know if they've got surveillance cameras as evidence.
Did something happen at the gas station?
They went there first. They went there.
Your son and the friends went to the gas station before coming to this house?
And then they supposedly came up this street.
Walking?
Because the neighbor or somebody around here I think one time when I was riding through and just sitting here, somebody had told me that they seen a group of boys coming up this street. So, or a group of people. I don't know. It might have been a female or two with them. I'm not sure.
So you don't even know the full group he was with?
Mm-mm. No, because my son hung around a very small circle. Like, I could tell you who he was with on a regular basis.
So this was a different group.
Yes.
Like for whatever reason, this particular, maybe it was to smoke, like you said, and so he was just hanging around this group just to go to do that.
He would have not known anybody that knew that he would have hung around with. Like, in order to do something like that, he would have had to know them for a while.
Okay. So he knew these people.
Yes, he had to trust.
So he had to trust them
yes.
to be able to do what he did.
Right. Yeah.
And someone gave him a ride to the hospital?
Yes, somebody did give him a ride. Yes, yes. Apparently, he was at a corner, and somebody had drove by, and then she heard a gunshot or something, or saw something. She got spooked, and she drove off, and she sent somebody back around to come get my son to take him to the hospital.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't part of it, part of the group?
No.
No, okay.
No, this was an older lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen that often. I mean, the fact that she even did that, 'cause so many people mind their own business.
Right. Exactly.
That was great.
Yes. I
mean,
wish I could talk to them people. I really do. I think I seen them in the waiting room at the hospital.
They even waited.
Just, yeah, because looking back, I see a bunch of eyes on me. You know, like I would be, while I was waiting, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I sat next to one of them. And I really, I sat right next to him, and I believe that was them. And I've tried to get in contact with them. Who was it? Aim for Peace, I think, had spoke with them people, and I told them that I would like to talk with them and thank them. I feel like if he would have lived, they would have saved his life. You know what I mean? But yeah, somebody did pick him up and take him, and that's the car that I was talking about, that I saw the legs hanging out. So, and I don't remember if that car was there when I left. I want to say no, that it wasn't.
So do you think you saw your son and you were in the hospital before him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it wasn't the ambulance that brought my son. It was the ambulance that took him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he was still alive, or he died in his house?
No, he died in the house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other one. Your son died
at the hospital.
at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. See, you just can't. You can't know what not happened here. Just too many people be driving on this street for you not to know.
And it's pretty busy.
And it was daylight still, because, you know, it was in the summertime.
This
so
was
it
like
still
7 o'clock?
8. He, I think, was pronounced dead at 8:17. So.
So.
And it fits the timeline of when we was trying to get in touch with him. There's just not too much that we don't know. Like, we were a very close family. You know, it was only us. You know, that's it. It was just us, the family. That's it. We didn't have a whole lot of outsiders.
So someone in that group pulled a gun and shot 2 of them.
They broke in through the door because one of the neighbors said that they heard a loud thud and then bang, bang, bang. just
Okay.
gunshots.
But they were inside the house.
Mhm.
He and his friends were already inside the house.
Inside the house.
So somebody broke into the house, is what, and then fired. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And this wasn't as far as you know, he had never been in this house before.
As far as I know, never.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. And that's just finding little bits and pieces, like after the fact. Like, I heard that my son wasn't supposed to get shot. I heard that, it was an accident. But I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Like maybe somebody else might have been the target and he accidentally got shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that doesn't make sense to me as well, because my son was running away. So according to that, he wasn't even, I think, on the property when he got shot. Like, I think he was in the street or on the corner or somewhere, but I don't think he was shot here. Like, he was shot leaving.
Was anyone else in the group shot at that you know of?
I don't know that either.
Okay.
The only thing that I know is that the two are dead.
The two.
Mm-hmm.
So no one else was even injured, just the two that were...
Not that I'm aware of. I've never even heard of anybody else even being mentioned. Just my two.
So we're not aware then if anybody else then even has a description of the person who kicked in the door.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's not been, you've not been told.
I have not been told. I have not been told a lot. I know every time I ask questions, it's a part of the case. I can't reveal that information.
Right.
We are so sorry.
Although a description would be helpful for anybody who might possibly...
Right.
Withholding that, I think, is silly, but...
Well, I mean, when they've got somebody that they're looking for, don't they usually have a description?
Right.
I mean, when they're looking for somebody that's wanted by the FBI, don't they give a description and put a picture out?
Right. Right.
I mean, I don't understand. This is what gets me, is they got all these homicides and no pictures are plastered anywhere of our homicide victims. Nowhere. Where do you see them at? Other than the moms that be out there holding the pictures and advocating for their sons. I applaud them. I really do. That takes a lot of strength for a mother to get out there and hold that picture. And wanting tips from anybody. Just somebody. Somebody gotta need that money. Why? And then we don't have no government officials helping us. The police don't care, especially if they gang related. Which that shouldn't be an issue anyway. Period.
Nope, a death is a death.
Exactly. No matter what he did. But these kids, whether or not they want to think about it, these young kids are serial killers.
Really?
They're not unalivers. They are killing people. And it's these young kids, these young adults, these older men that've been raised in this stuff, think that it's okay to come out here if you got a problem with somebody just to take their life. You can't take somebody's life. Because you're not just taking their life, you're taking lives of all the other people that love that person. I just wish we could get more help from the community, and the organizations. Could you imagine of all the people that could be lined up on Prospect if KC Mothers in Charge, Corey's Network, which they're wonderful. Like, they've helped me come out of my shell. Like, if it wasn't for Shelley and Robert Norris and their weekly meetings that they have and one-on-ones, like, they are so positive, and they're just the most amazing group I've ever had the chance to work with. Who is the other one? Aim for Peace. And they've got some more I've seen coming up. Like, and the men too. The men got some groups that they're trying to put together. Could you imagine if all of these groups came together, how much prospect would be lined up right here? Could you imagine if all of the homicide victims came together, how much that they would line up Prospect, or even the area where their child got killed at? Could you imagine the outcome if we just had people help?
Work together.
I just think I would like to see more, and I'm gonna try and get these groups together, because come June 25th, I'd like to see something out here on 35th and 36th and Prospect, and hopefully I can get some tips generated as to what happened to my son. Yeah, because I have my few little tears, but I'm mad. You know, I am so mad. I'm so mad. I want to see this boy, man, whoever, girl, child, whoever it was that pulled that trigger on my son, I want him behind bars. And I want him behind bars. And not just for no 4 years, because these kids have killed more than just one child. They're out here running amok. You know, just getting mad, just pop, 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 pop. And nobody's saying nothing, and nobody has seen. God gave us eyes.
And a voice to speak.
And a voice to speak, that's right. That's right, but I'm mad. I'm mad that somebody thought that they could take my son and get away with it. That's the thing about it. How many more did he get away with? Y'all putting out these serial killers. Well, these people that are killing, I bet you he got more bodies. Whoever it was that killed my son, because I know he got one. For sure. 2 for sure. Well, at what point do they become a serial killer?
Is that 3 or more? 3 or more.
That's what I'm saying. And I just wish the government of Kansas City would step up. I don't see no progress. I don't. And I just don't know why the numbers got to keep climbing every year, but we're claiming on doing something. We're not doing nothing, people, because people still got guns in the street. So we're not doing nothing to do nothing. That's just how I feel. I'm mad.
Should be.
I'm mad. I can't even cry no more. Sometimes I'm so mad. But I have him with me every day. And I got good memories.
I can see it in your face.
And I got loving memories.
First off, I was surprised at how much traffic there was on Wabash. There were so many cars going by, so I can't help but think that because...
And people walking.
So many people walking that...
And it's cold out right now. At least to me it is. So.
Right, and this is in June, so I would say there's no reason why there weren't people out and about when this happened.
Right, and then back in 2018, we were told there were more houses so I would think more houses would be more people, so, and in June it's warmer, so probably more walkers, so you're right, you think there'd be more witnesses.
Well, and then the group that they were with, I mean, you know that they saw things. They saw what happened, and the fact that there are more tips or more leads and, with people talking about it.
Especially kids at that age. They're talking.
Right. 'Cause
in
you
that
can't
group.
help it.
I mean, she doesn't know if the police have spoken to that group of children who were there that day, but they should have stepped forward. And if you were his friend, you would have stepped forward and give any information that you would have had.
And it's at the point where even if you didn't know Rome and you were there, or that you're with, you know, some of the people that were there, you need to do the right thing.
It's the right thing to do.
You need to do it. You need to do
Right.
what's right.
And it's been 5 years, so that would make some of those kids 21, 20, 22. You would think enough time has passed that you wouldn't be, I don't know if you were, didn't want to be known as a snitch or too scared to speak, but you think 5 years, enough time has passed that you think it's time to step forward for the mother, for the daughter, for his family to solve this case.
All right.
She's angry.
I think we all should be angry at the fact that we just can't. We have all these unsolved murders.
The police haven't told her anything. She hasn't heard anything. All she knows is what she's heard. And she knows that her son wouldn't be hanging around people that he wouldn't have known or he wouldn't have trusted himself. So these are close friends.
I would say then it just makes me wonder then if there was just that one person though that was a tag along in that group, you know, at that time, and
Brought it on.
brought it on.
Please, if you know anything, just come forward. I was reading articles on it, and there were a lot of opinions and angry people in the articles, but not enough for those people to step up.
Right, they're complaining. Yeah, the people in the articles were talking about how there was just so much violence going on their street, but yet none of them were speaking up about what they would have seen because, again, it was June. There was so much traffic. You're going to complain about violence, but you're not going to sit there and be a witness.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I was trying to look up on the case, and I found at least 3 others in that area that there were shootings near 36 and Wabash. So you just think if you live in the area, you'd be more aware. You'd want to be more aware. And if it's not his case, then there's a case I'm sure that you know of that you can speak about.
Yeah, quit minding your own business. And it's okay to speak out. It's okay to give
It's your
information.
street. I mean, you live there. I mean, do you want those type of people on your street? I would want it cleaned up.
And you can't do that without taking control. And that's exactly what we're asking for is, you know, being held accountable.
Because, God forbid, like we said before, if it was reversed, I would want someone to speak up for me.
Right.
Speak up for my child.
So we want you to speak up for Ron Deans. Because, you know, it was a stranger who picked him up and took him to the hospital. Not anyone in his group of friends. It was a stranger that did it. And you know what? I was amazed by that because I was like, you know what? There are people like that.
Because we always hear about the story where they wouldn't help the
Right.
wife flip her husband over to give CPR.
Right.
They're probably filming is what they're doing. So
Right.
you can pull out a freaking camera, but you can't help flip a man over to give CPR. It's this empathy that people are slowly losing. And like I said, growing numb. And we don't want you to grow numb to this, because I don't want to grow numb to this.
Right, no.
So, $25,000 reward. Actually, $50,000 reward. If you can solve one, you can solve the other.
True that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Because it's a double homicide. So,
You need $50,000. You know what's going on. You know it's time to speak up.
so speak up. It's time.
And if you know nothing, then share. I mean, because if you're not watching this or no one's watching this, then it's not going to get solved. So please share. Please subscribe. Please turn in tips.
Thank you.
Thanks.